All right, I am here with WSU football legend, Washington legend, some might even say, Peyton Pelluer. Peyton, how's your day?
It's great, man. Just got back from practice number 2, spring ball at Skyline High School. So thanks for having me, Jay.
Of course, of course. Well, I guess we'll kind of dive right on into it. So, starting with kind of high school. So I mean, really just looking into it, 2010, 2011, your sophomore year, looks like you played varsity football, which is always nice playing there. You got 14 games, 176 tackles, you lead Skyline and everything. You go to the state title. And I mean, it's a stacked team, right? You play with Max Brown, yourself, you have Casey Williams, just some of the big names, and a loss to Ferris. So you you led the team with 17 tackles that game. What do you remember about that?
Dude, wow, you're going deep, man. Starting off on a low point, the worst loss of my life, besides a couple Apple Cups. I and to be honest, I don't remember much from that game at all because I just blocked it from my memory. I don't think I ever watched it again. Uh, um, I knew that if we were going to play Bears again, they were going to be absolutely cooked. But we never did. I just remember being heartbroken, especially for my seniors like Casey Williams, Jordan Simone, Mike Ford, Connor Cree, lots of studs who ball boyed for just a year or two before. I was I was sad, man. Anytime you go that far, you work that hard, even just as a sophomore, like cuts deep, still cuts, man. Especially being back at Skyline as a head coach, it's a tough one. Oh man,
There's some redemption there, though. 2011, 2012, so your junior year, 14 games played, 156 total tackles, and you avenge your loss with a win over Skyview. You lead the team again, 8 total tackles in that championship. So, what do you remember about this win?
yeah, no. Well, it's funny the word you used, redemption. So we every year, every Skyline team, the players on the last night of camp, they pick a 3-letter motto. Sophomore year because Jake Heaps, just such a dominant team. My oldest brother, Cooper, or older brother, who went to go play at UW. Everybody graduated, and nobody thought, even with Kaysen, with Jake Lee, everybody thought we were going to be nothing. It was silence the critics. STC my sophomore year. Junior year, because we lost the state game, we were the end, redemption driven machine. That was our motto up here. And we ended up, we weren't perfect. We lost 2 games. We barely dropped to Bellevue week 1. Went down, played Lake Oswego, lost, and played Eastlake at the end of our regular season and lost, which was kind of a blessing in disguise because we had a kind of come to Jesus moment as a team and player only meeting and went into the playoffs just hair on fire. And yeah, I ended up just kind of dominating that state title game against a team that was way bigger than us, that everybody was saying was going to kick our ass, and that didn't happen. So that was maybe one of my most fun years ever playing ball, just because the adversity that was associated with it.
So, usually, and this could be different from you coming from, I'm interested to hear this, but some people have their recruitment pickup between their sophomore and their junior year. Some people have a pickup between their junior and their senior year, and some people end up kind of getting stuff towards the trail end of your senior year. So, kind of, what did you have? I would assume it maybe picked up after your junior year.
Yeah, I committed. I committed pretty early. I committed heading into the summer of my senior year. So yeah, after my junior year season, spring, summer, somewhere in there. I think the weirdest part about it is like all of us except for Max, because he already had so many offers, were just so hyper fixated on going undefeated and winning state our senior year and just not blowing it. And we were working our tails off. I wasn't even really thinking about college ball at that point. And then kind of Colorado offered me out of nowhere 1 month after my junior season, and then picked up Wazoo and ASU and took visits to Colorado and Wazoo. Was supposed to go to the Oregon camp, and then just ended up committing to Wazoo. Just felt right in my heart. So yeah, pretty quickly after my junior year, committed to Wazoo. Best decision of my life.
I think a lot of people would agree with that. Fans of the school as well. I mean, 4 generations deep at Wazoo, it's pretty cool. It's definitely something that will most likely never be done again. Just amazing looking at that lineage. Now your senior year, I see you only got to play about 9 games, but you still managed 55 tackles and you won the state title against Bellman Prep. Were you banged up? Did you get hurt in your senior year?
Yeah, I sublexed my shoulder, so kind of a partial tear of my labrum. So sat out 4 games. Is what it is. The next man up. Team took care of business. Not doubt in my mind. Blowout win, Kinco title game, and then hop back in. I think week 1, week 2 of playoffs. Don't recall, but yeah, I was banged up. I was bummed too because I ended up actually coming a couple tackles short of the all-time assisted tackles record, which is like whatever. So only ended up with the all-time solo tackles, which I'll take. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. It was all good, guys. Like I said, my boys still handle business.
That's the important part. So I saw you got to play in the Semper Fidelis All-American Bowl. How was that? How was playing over with that?
Um, it was really cool. It was really cool. 2 cool parts about it. I think it was the first or second year they ever did it. I don't even know if they still do it, to be honest. My head coach, Matt Taylor, and my defensive coordinator, Don Bartel, who's now, I guess they're both MSI, but Coach Matt Taylor retired. They were the West's team head coach, defensive coordinator. So I got to go down there with my coaches. And it was a blast. I basically hung out. It was me, Jared Goff, Austin Hooper, a couple other guys kind of just like linked arms and, just a couple Pac-12 guys, just crushed it all weekend. We ended up losing, which sucks, which is weird because we had some absolute studs on our team, NFL players. But it was a cool experience, like my first time ever doing something like that. So I enjoyed it. But yeah, it was a good time. I wonder if they still do it. You have to get back to me on that.
I definitely will. I'll look into that one. That's definitely interesting, especially with all the different bowls they have after when you finish with high school. All right, so move on to Wazoo. So 2013, you redshirt, not much to really hit on there, but 2014, you're not the full-time starter, but 31 total tackles on the year. Wazoo goes 3-9. I was able to read this really cool article where you kind of talked like a literal sentence about every single game you played, and trust me, there was a lot. So in that, I saw that you played your first game. It was at Rutgers, and there's 2 questions. So one, what is it like playing a home game for Wazoo in Seattle? Because that just sounds wrong and feels wrong. But 2, it's you mentioned how you almost blew protection and got chewed out pretty good about that. What was that like? Was it one of those moments where you realized and maybe you realized it before, but oh crap, the smallest little things are going to make a huge difference at this level?
Well, I definitely knew that. The way we approached special teams meetings were you never knew when you were going to get called out and you'd have to call it protection like you were in a game. So it was just, you're always on pins and needles, ready to go, ready to perform on and off the field. Definitely wasn't a lack of appreciation. I just thinking back to that year, those first couple games, anytime I got in, just so wide-eyed. I remember going in against Oregon at home, first time ever breaking out the all-white helmets, all-white jerseys combo at home, which was cool. And Marcus Mariota's at quarterback, and going there at linebacker, and I'm like I end up on his NFL draft highlight tape, just in the background, just running for my life. He just had 100+ yards, scramble yards. Like, we just couldn't contain him. Absolute freak. But yeah, I mean, home field, home game at who knows what it was called back then, Quest, was pretty cool. Was pretty cool. I remember being in that locker room, doing my eye black, and kind of my first time ever doing the smear and just going all out, just my warrior paint. That was kind of a core memory for me. And then yeah, first college stat was pretty surreal. But a couple punts later, I ended up getting my first tackle, so it wasn't all bad. And well, we lost, but we'll focus on the positives, I guess.
For sure. Well, actually, not all positive yet, because part of that year, and I'm sure you know what I'm going to hit on, is the 60-59 loss against Cal. So that's like etched in every Coug fans' memory? I'm sure it's etched even deeper in your memory.
Yeah, that's like the UCLA game, 2019. Just bad, man, just bad.
So what is it like to lose all momentum in a game and be playing against her? Because people talk about Big Mo, but they don't really understand what it feels like where it's just you cannot catch a break. And I'm sure from the character of coaches on that coaching staff, it wasn't a hey guys, it'll get fixed. What was the message being said by the players, by the coaches, and kind of how does it feel to go against Big Mo?
It's tough, like, I think back to a couple games where, when I wasn't starting at this point, a couple big game or two after, where I took over the starting role at linebacker, but it was brutal. Just you're trying offense is trying to get something going, and lots of my boys were out there. Probably the weirdest story from that week is I was classmates with our kicker who ended up missing like a 30-yarder.
As
Like
Eric Powell, right?
no, this wasn't even Pal. Yeah, this was Brashears. Hope you're doing okay, Brashears. No hard feelings. But I just remember we had a makeup test either the next morning or the Monday morning. It was like 6 a.m. and I just remember walking in there. It's literally just like me, him, and some other dude. Like I tried talking to him. I don't know, but it was just like it wasn't just his fault. I mean, every loss is a team loss, and it's just brutal. But definitely the games where it's like once I did start playing more and more, the toughest games was where you feel like you're always on the field defensively. You get a 3 and out or whatever it is. You sit on the bench and then you're back out there plays later. Like it's demoralizing. It's definitely like, but you got to put yourself in the mindset like we got a job to do. Our job is to get the ball back to the offense. But that was always our mentality. Just get out there and fight. That's what Leach was always preaching, next play mentality. I honestly don't remember any specifics from what he said after the Cal game, but yeah, I guarantee you it wasn't good. It wasn't good. He was notorious for post game speeches after losses.
Yeah, there's some videos out there you can find. You had some of those Texas Tech ones, and I mean, there are some at Wazoo that are insane.
Amazing. I mean, just love the guy. You know.
Yeah, no, I actually got to speak with Cody O'Connell about a year ago or so, and I was talking to him about like, just some of the things that Leach just said to you, and he was like, "Oh, dude, practices, he would just go up to the O line and just mother him up and down if there was something wrong." So, I mean, that's at practice in a good mood. So I could only imagine after a game, kind of what that's like.
Yeah, yeah. Not uh, sunshine and rain. That's for sure.
For sure. All right, so we'll get into happier times. So 2015, great rebound. We got a 9-4 record. You have 101 tackles on the year. It's also Alex's Grinch, first year as the D coordinator. You guys kind of took on that mantra of speed D. But we have an opening loss to Portland State. You also have a high though, a Holiday Bowl win in Miami against Miami in the snow, so kind of crazy. So what kind of happened that season from that loss to Portland State all the way to growing and ended up winning in a Holiday Bowl?
Yeah, we just sucked week one. We lost multiple week one openers. I remember heading into 2017 and like sitting down with Coach Grinch, like at this point concocting kind of a theory as to why did we always perform so bad week one. And we boiled it down to, well, you go all of spring ball, all of fall camp, seeing only 10 and 20 personnel air raid. And then you go into week one, and I guess Eastern Washington 2016 is maybe the caveat because they were mostly 10, 11 personnel. But I mean, that Portland State team, like, and just the Pac-12 in general, you're seeing lots of different offenses, multiple offenses, and we didn't have enough reps against that. So yeah, we were atrocious on defense. And that was for a one game. That was one of the colder games I remember just because it was pissing rain. Probably the rainiest game I've ever played in. Just, socks, cleats, everything drenched. Half my family was there, which was really just sad that they had to come over and watch that and be a part of that. But yeah, and we hit our groove. Falk was on fire. That was one of my favorite years of football, just because everybody was counting us out. so many gritty wins. Should have beat Stanford when they were ranked 8th in the country. But that was kind of also the kind of the game where it's like, okay, this, speed D thing works. We can score on offense. And we don't stuck off games anymore. So that was like I said, that was a fun year. Just week in, week out. The best teams, and Leach says this all the time. The best teams are constantly improving throughout the year. There's no contentment or satisfaction with where you're at. And I know every team says this, but like we practice our ass off with Grinch. We would practice after practice if it wasn't good enough. And he pushed us so hard when we got in. I remember fall camp or spring ball, the ones, we had a bad drive during 7-on-7, and he kicked us out, made us do 30 up downs. And then by that time, it was our turn to head right back in. And we were just gassed. But it's like, nobody cares. Here's the standard, you can't negotiate it. And that was kind of our mentality all year. We just kept finding ways to win. UCLA, that Sun Bowl against Miami. It was a lot of fun games.
So 2016, I mean, we're going to talk about it, but another stellar year. You got 93 tackles. Week 1 loss to Eastern Washington, but you're playing against this guy named Cooper Kupp, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Gage Goubert ends up being a future WSU teammate, but 100 yards, 100 plus yards worth of rushing, 475 yards passing, and 5 touchdowns. And again, you said that was kind of the exception because they ran a little more 10 and 11. I don't even know if they came out in 12 personnel at all, but probably the closest thing you're going to see to kind of what you guys run. So what was so interesting? I mean, was it just simply like, hey man, they had some dudes, or was it just a rough week 1?
Yeah. Good team. I think they beat us fair and square. They had plenty of dudes. And I don't think, that they came out in some funky stuff that we didn't have immediate answers for. And Coop balled out, Gage balled out, and that was no bueno. I didn't like that one, but we bounced back a little bit.
It's good. It was good. It's good. So 2017, we go into your senior year.
I don't like talking about losses, man. I don't like talking about losses. Bringing up too many losses.
Well, there might be 1 or 2 more in here, but fuck you, 17. You go into your senior year, and like this is it. This is when you should be leaving the Palouse after this year, and it sucks. But you only play 3 games, but you have some fantastic plays. You can the iconic comeback versus Boise State. It's only possible because you have a pick 6 that really kind of gives that spark to the team. But I think I read you were playing against Oregon State. You were going for a tackle and you break your foot, but you didn't know you broke it. I mean, like it hurt really bad. They ended up calling timeout. You kind of got off the field, went to the locker room. The coach goes, "Oh yeah, man, this thing is broken. Like you're done." So in that immediate moment, what is the thought when the doctor literally looks at you and goes, "Yeah, you're not, like your senior year's over"?
I mean, just complete and utter shock. Like that was the year we were, our goal was the Rose Bowl. We had such fun, dominant, just loaded defense across the board. Like we didn't, like I was so confident heading into every practice, every game that all my guys knew exactly what they were doing. The expectations were set. And we were all on the same page. We grinded our ass off all off season long, and for the most part, it was 20 something dudes that stuck it out from 2013 to 2017. Plus a handful of younger guys. Like Frankie Luvu, who's a true senior, wasn't technically a part of my class, but some absolute dogs that feel like we had so much fun at practice. Just practice, like not even the camp, like just an absolute ball playing football with these guys. And I just remember being really, really sad that I felt like I let my team down because, I was a big part of that. I also had confidence. I had all the confidence in the world and, the rest of the linebacker room, my roommate, Isaac Dotson, one of my best friends, Nate DeRider, all West Side Kinko kids. And we had all played plenty of meaningful reps. And played a lot of good ball. So I knew we would have been fine, except they both got hurt. DeRider tore his ACL against Oregon. Isaac got his 6th concussion or something, and medically retired basically mid-season. So it was, yeah, it was sad, man. It was really sad. I just like saw all my hopes for the team not diminished, but definitely like, because I thought faith in my team, but it was devastating, man. That was going to be the pinnacle of my football career, and it all just went away like that.
And so you guys end up filing for another year of eligibility, and the NCAA does end up approving it. But I heard that kind of the two main factors were one, or well, I guess three. One of them was that you were only 3 games in, so medical redshirt obviously still a viable thing. Two, it was a broken foot. But I read something, and I could be wrong, but 2013 was kind of a necessary redshirt as well because you were suffering or healing from another foot injury. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that was on my right foot, and God bless Andy Mutton and our trainer at the time. I think he's at Penn State now, but I basically sprained my foot, or these little bones, tendons in my foot, there's seismoids. It was basically a really bad case of turf toe. So I was probably going to redshirt anyways. I was traveling with the team, but that definitely forced me to redshirt. And yeah, I didn't play football for like a month and a half in 2013. So they filed that as a season-ending injury. And the criteria for a medical red shirt is, you have to have 2 season-ending injuries. If I would have broke my foot in 2017 just the next week against Nevada, that would have been past the deadline, and I wouldn't have been granted an extra year. So God was looking out for me, and I mean, that's like kind of when it all panned out. And I didn't even hear. I remember returning to Pullman after Christmas break, not knowing if I got granted the extra year or not. I was just like banking on it. And sure enough, I did. But just kind of a crazy circumstances that led to me getting that extra year. Just kind of blew my mind when I put it all in perspective.
So you truly didn't have any sort of idea if they were going to approve it. I mean, you came back from vacant or from winter break and just basically said like, "Well, I'm on their timetable, and I have no clue what they're going to say."
Yeah, I mean, everybody was saying, like, there's no way that it doesn't get approved, and we had, contingency plans, appeal plans, but it was definitely I showed up to Pullman, like, in limbo, like, technically, out of eligibility, so that was pretty weird, they gave it to me pretty quick, once I showed up, but, yeah, I mean, just kinda crazy times.
So 2018. So this is a little bit of a mouthful, but I want to give people a little bit of the rundown of what's going on. So 2018 is probably one of the most memorable years in WSU history. So the team's going absolutely crazy. College game day comes against Oregon. You win against Oregon in Pullman. You have Minshew there, so Minshew mania is going across the nation. Everyone's going crazy for him. You make history by ended up playing 54 games at WSU as a Coug. Obviously, not ideal to play that many games, but your name's in the history books for a lot of reasons. But that one is probably never going to be beaten. And if it does, hopefully you can reach out to that kid and be like, "Hey, I've been in the same position. It gets
I
better."
I'm almost positive it did because of all these dang COVID years. And
That is true.
so my guys, Jahad Woods and Justice Rogers, I think both of them broke it, but they haven't thanked me yet because they only broke it because me, DeRuyter, and Isaac all got hurt our senior years and forced these freshmen to play. And then they all got free years where I had to break a foot for mine 1.5 times. But hey, it's okay. They can have it.
You are. Well, I am mistaken on that one, but still,
I'll be okay.
54 games in a college career, absolutely insane. So amazing year, right? Like you have to talk about just what it felt like because I'm sure it was a whirlwind. But something that people don't really know about, and I have to ask about it. You and Minshew both talked with Saban and basically got told like, "Hey, why don't you come down to Alabama?" I get loyalty runs deep. I understand that. I believe it was the D line coach at Wazoo ended up becoming, or the old D coordinator at Wazoo ended up becoming down to Alabama, and knew there was a connection to Wazoo down to Alabama, and they basically just said like, "Hey, you want to come over here?" So how do you turn down going to Alabama when they are in one of the heights of their dynasty, where they're just a national championship's kind of the thing? I get loyalty runs deep, but how do you say no to that?
Um, yeah, it was tough. I made a lot of phone calls. Made a lot of phone calls. Talked to Grinch, who was at, I guess he was at Missouri. Where did, no, he was at Oklahoma. My other coach, Coach Odom, was at Missouri. And then I talked to Coach Wilson, sorry, he was, he went to Oregon the next year. He was with me my last year. Sorry. I'm just trying to think back of how it all went down. But yeah, it was weird. I just remember getting hit up. I mean, if I'm being frankly honest, it was the connection was my brother-in-law, who was the D coordinator at Alabama at the time, and my whole family was at a wedding, and they flew in straight from Tuscaloosa, and he pulls me aside like when we meet up, night one, he's like, "Hey, your name and your film came up in one of our staff meetings, our defensive meeting, and his name's Tosh. He said I didn't say anything. I just let it roll and let Saban talk. And Saban was like, "Yeah, let's get this guy." They were light on bodies at linebacker. And so I heard that and I was like, "All right, that's pretty cool. I don't know if you're BSing me." But nepotism can definitely happen in college football, but like at that level, um, you know, just like if you're in the NFL, you and the head coach has or any coach or a GM has, "Hey, my nephew's pretty good at football. Let's sign him a multi-million-dollar contract and see how he pans out." So when he told me like, "Hey, Saban wants to offer you a scholarship at grad transfer," I was like, "Damn, man, all right. What do I do?" So yeah, I reached out to a lot of my mentors and my family, and and then at this point I'm straight up getting recruited by Alabama, and it was kind of like all right, I either do Alabama and just swing the bat, swing my sword, and let it rip. If I would have gone to Bama and played and earned a spot, that definitely would have set me up, you know, NFL wise, probably a little bit more. Who knows? You just never know. But I mean, the more I thought about it, prayed about it, I and the biggest thing for me staying was Wazoo was already there. There was a mass exodus after 2017. Our AD left, our entire senior class left with future NFL guys, Pac-12 record setter Luke Falk, half our staff left, our defensive coordinator left, our strength coach left, our head athletic trainer left, everybody left. And I was like, I just couldn't bring myself to, after all that I gave to Wazoo, all that, I don't want to say all that I mean to Wazoo, but like the ancestral blood that is in my veins. Um, I just knew I couldn't do it. And I, decided to give that year fully to Wazoo, and I was gonna ride it out. I was gonna ride it out and say, all right, like hopefully we'll make the Vegas Bowl. And then Gardner shows up, little QB battle, ends up being the guy. We were still basically heavy speed D on defense, end up being pretty dang good. And just like 2015, but in so many different ways, we found ways to win. We worked our asses off at this point. This was season 6 or so for Leach. Like everybody understood the expectations. He made the right hires to replace everybody in 2017, and we had a fantastic strength coach and Coach Brown, Tyson Brown, who's at UConn now. But and everybody just bought in and embraced the underdog mentality that we hadn't had in a while, since 2014, 2015. So it was special for a lot of reasons, but the main reason, obviously I've 1000% made the right decision to stay, and I wouldn't say I entertained it like too long. I think maybe a week or so. And I'm glad we did, man. I'm glad we did.
I'm sure most fans would agree with you. That was a crazy year to watch unfold. It felt like any time the game was on the line or whatever was going on, it was like, yeah, they'll figure it out. It'll be fine. Right? just some unlucky bounces, and God, just UW in general, just brutal. But
Just a foot of snow in 2 hours, and then perfectly sunny day the next day. Yeah, it's all good. Gardner Minshew's only snow game in his life. It's all good.
it's brutal. So I have to ask. I think the answer is obvious, but what the biggest regret at Wazoo is
Regret?
regret.
Regret. I mean, I don't know if regret's the right word, but obviously not winning an Apple Cup. That I can't say I regret that because I gave all I could. Um, and UW had really, really, really good teams when I was playing at Wazoo, and they were the only team that had us figured out defensively. They we couldn't do much on offense, so just I was I didn't cry after too many losses just in my lifetime. But I just remember after, I don't know, 2016, I was just so fed up of losing. I'm sure some Husky is going to see this. Uh, uh, I'll refrain from adjectives, and be happy about my tears. But yeah, man, that's tough. You put in that much work, and whatever sport it is, you care that much, especially a rivalry that runs in my veins, and I on both sides. Like, it's tough, man.
For sure. I'm sure someone will end up clipping it out, but we'll
Yeah,
yeah,
happen.
fix it. Exactly. All right. So 2019, well, football ends and at Wazoo, and you're gonna go over and work towards the draft and just everything the next step of football. And so you end up earning a tryout for the Browns. And after that, it goes cold. I mean, I can't find a single thing about what happened from there.
There ain't no thing. I did another rookie mini camp with the Rams. They went with Kettner Cup. It was literally two linebackers, me and Kettner, and he's a good linebacker. But I knew when Sean McVay made him break down the huddle, and they did it. The Rams was weird. It was really just one. It was a 1 day like tryout. That was the rookie mini camp. And I knew when Sean made Kettner break down the camp, the day. I was like, okay, yep, well, cool. Did an XFL tryout, nothing. Um, too white, too white, too slow. That's what I tell people.
All right. So that year ends up going by. And now we're 2020. So you end up going over to Mississippi State under Leach. Uh, and so you were a volunteer assistant. So what were you doing over there? Did you enjoy kind of coaching under the college game? And I mean, SEC ball. So I mean, did you always kind of know you wanted to be with Leach? How did that call work out?
Yeah, SEC ball is right. I was planting seeds. Honestly, heading into 2017 because I thought I was gonna be done after that year. I knew I was gonna get the NFL go. But I remember sitting down with Grinch, Leach, a couple other coaches, and saying, "Hey, would love to coach for you in the future." I knew I wanted to coach college ball, and so the football thing didn't pan out. So I decided, all right, got to hang up the cleats. Called Leach, him and Dave Emmerich, put something together for me, and yeah, I showed up as a volunteer, which is crazy. I just packed everything up and basically on nothing but a hope and a dream, drove all the way, 2,000 plus miles down to Starkville, Mississippi, on no income, just, hoping I would get a shot as GA or analyst, the next year or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that was some of my favorite years. Stole a family dog and took her down there. Shout out Lily, RIP. Some absolutely formative years of my life. I show up, I'm living in a Gardner actually hooked me up with a spot. His hometown buddies that was finishing up school down there. They had a spare room, paid $300 a month in rent, which is just nuts. And my roommate had three other roommates. One of them was Will Rogers, a true freshman Will Rogers. So it was me, Will, Houston, and my dog Lily, and we tore it up. And yeah, dude, it was fun. Leach took care of me. The staff took care of me, and we had a good time taking the air raid to the SEC. First year was second year was a lot of fun. I mean, it was all fun, but like that first year was also like COVID year, so it was just getting COVID tested 2-3 times a week. Wearing masks on the sideline outside. It was just weird. But it was good. It was a lot of fun, and honestly, Mississippi was not a bad place to be during a pandemic. It was a little bit more chill down there, so I had a great time. I had an absolute blast. And yeah, I mean, just good people down there. Obviously, it's SEC football. Like, it literally just their motto is it just means more. But like, I will defend that every day of my life. Like compared to West Coast sports, it's sad. People just don't care about sports as much out here, and I know that hurts you too, Jay. But like down there, dude, you have it's hard to explain. Just the amount of people, how much they care about. Be walking past. For me, it was the baseball games because they're a baseball school, and they have. We set the year before they won the Natty. We were hosting super regionals, and we set the all-time NCAA home attendance record for a NCAA baseball playoff game. But I mean, you walk around that ballpark and just random people handing you drinks and food, and that's just how it was down there, dude. It was a lot of fun. Made a lot of good, lifelong relationships, and got to hang out with the Pirate for 2 extra years, which I am very, very thankful for.
For sure. I mean, yeah, I think one of the things that always throws me off, like you were just saying, is just how people for me, right, growing up, like sports was always my favorite thing. And so to think that somebody isn't just constantly obsessed with the idea of sports is so foreign. I mean, now I get it. It's like, okay, I am obsessive over sports. So I get why some people are like, dude, it's not that serious. But whenever I ask people, like, what is the SEC, right? And they just say it means more. And they're just like, you can't explain it. It's almost gotten to the point of lore where I think I get it simply because it's unexplainable. Like it just is what it is, and you have fifth graders who are like crying over their team losing because they lost to a rival they shouldn't have lost to. It was the same thing in fifth grade over here when Wazoo was losing to UW, but it's different over there, man. I went to school the next day and my friends were laughing because they were just UW fans. They didn't care if they won or lost.
Yeah, no, it was like the Iron Bowl was played on Thanksgiving. And I remember the first Iron Bowl. It was we were at Ole Miss, and it was COVID year, so like every stadium in America had capacity limits. I mean, look at the NFL; they didn't have anybody in any of the games. We show up, and it's packed out. Like you know, it was Thanksgiving too. Like people didn't care. I remember my I almost said hairdresser, but she was a gal who cut my hair. And she was telling me a story of her friend who had a newborn baby during football season and didn't miss a game, which is I was like, okay, like you didn't miss like maybe a couple weeks. And maybe she did. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but like it was wild down there, man. It was good though.
That's good. I mean, it sounds like a hell of a time. So
Yeah.
you take all that, right? 2 years under Leach, and then you actually end up heading back out west. You go to LA, you're in USC, you're working with Lincoln Riley, who ends up hiring your old DC over in Alex Grinch. And so you go work with him and you're coaching up linebackers. And you do that for 2 years. And I mean, did you enjoy it? I mean, the culture shift is huge, but I mean, what was it like working for a storied program in USC and just kind of how that runs and seeing the differences?
Um, yeah, it was an absolute trip. Absolute, just mind blowing. Like I had to like first. I mean, like I remember we went straight into building a program from the ground up, like straight into recruiting mode, like everything. I just remember driving over. I went straight from our bowl game at Mississippi State. We played in the AutoZone Bowl in Memphis against Texas Tech. I remember packing up my truck before we left for the bowl, and I drove up to Memphis, and then I went straight from Memphis to LA. Next morning we had a staff meeting, and they put us all up in the USC hotel, right on campus. Um, you know, I get down to the lobby early. There's a golf cart waiting for us. And it's me, Lincoln Riley, and our director of operations, Clark. They're like, Pelluer. And it was my first time meeting Lincoln, day one. And it's 6:30 in the morning, and we get a golf cart ride through campus, and it was my first time seeing campus. And then we get into our staff meeting, and I'm like, holy crap, this is the first time that I've had a staff meeting or a team meeting of anything before noon, because Leach never woke up before noon. So it was all just a total 180 of what I was used to from the previous 8 years. And it was all just so first class, like behind the scenes, behind the stage access, and literally with my own hands, like building back up one of the most historic programs in the history of college football. I remember it took me a really long time to do this, to be comfortable with Fight On. And just, it's crazy. Just, doing recruiting dinners up in the press box and seeing LA, driving around LA. The amount of money that was spent, like renting out the crypto arena to do breakfast or dinner. We did breakfast on the court of crypto one weekend, for recruits. It was top notch. And it was a lot of fun, and just beautiful, just a total different. I mean, you go from Mississippi to LA, like completely different transition. But that's what kind of made it special in its own right. Just how unique it was. And whatever they say about Lincoln, like he's a hell of a leader. And he brought in a bunch of other great leaders, and I learned so much from Lincoln, just like I learned so much from Leach, and like so much of that I use as a leader for my team now. So it was definitely transformative in a lot of ways. But yeah, it was, like I said, top notch, and they spent a lot of money down there. They're certainly committed to building that program back up. It's like year one, I get to coach against the Heisman winner every practice. This sucks because he's really good, but like it's also like this is really cool. Dapping up Caleb Williams every day, whatever. Like everybody that came through there was, like, oh hey, Vince Vaughn is out in the lobby, checking out the football offices. Like, man, that's awesome. I got to finish this practice script. Because it was also, with you spend that much money, the pressure was on all of us. So it was, pressure's a privilege, and it was cool, dude. It was really, really cool. And I don't know, like that's one of the things I love about college football is like you get those cool experiences. That's one of the reasons why I don't regret getting out of college football, but like that's definitely a reason why guys do coach college football, and play college football. Because you get to coach sports at really historic, affluent, badass spots like USC. It was a special experience.
For sure. So I actually find it kind of interesting because one of the things that you were quoted as saying is the reason of getting out of college sports is that it's lost its way. And so I think for everyone to be able to look at, they can be like, yeah, college football is not what you recognize from 2018. Like it's just not right. But obvious things, NIL, college football playoff being expanded, like some of these things. For you, what was when you gave that quote? What were you thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, pick your poison. Uh, the whole obviously NIL transfer portal. You're not going to see a legacy guy like me maybe ever again. And I am so thankful I wasn't around for that. Like, yeah, I probably would have made some good money. Who knows? All I really would have wanted was like a um free pitcher of beer every now and then at the Cougar Valhalla. Maybe a free car. I don't know. But like if you know if Alabama offered me and then they were like, oh, and then we'll throw 50 or 100 grand on top of that, like that's a pretty sweet deal. But then again, like then who knows if any of my entire class would have lasted the 4 or 5 years that we did, and that's what made my experience at Wazoo so special is because put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears with the same group of guys who and that was like just such special memories that I love, and yeah, you're not going to see that anymore. You're going to have your one hit, 2 hit wonders, like Coos quarterback boy last year.
The tier.
Yeah, as I say, I already forgot his name because I'm mad at him, but at the same time, like you can't be mad at these kids for taking generational wealth to again go play at really cool programs. Like that's the thing. It's like we've they did it to themselves. The NCAA with college athletics, like, and it's also ruined my school. With that was the other thing. I was at USC. I remember I was golfing. I guess this is kind of off topic, but with the whole conference realignment. But again, it all boils down to money. And I remember seeing the tweet, USC is joining the Big Ten, and then 10 minutes later, get a group text in the coaches group chat from Lincoln, hey, we're gonna have a Zoom in an hour. And I was on the golf course in Orange County, so I was like, okay, this ain't good. But it was him breaking the news that we were going to the Big Ten, and it was that crazy, like where were you on this when this happened sort of moment, and then next thing you know, Pac-12 shattered. Now Wazoo is stuck playing straight up lower tier teams, recruiting lower tier guys because what are you gonna like? You used to be able to tell, hey, you want to come play in the Pac-12 and play against USC, UCLA, Oregon, Arizona State, Stanford, Cal, like all like historic, like you can't. It's just I digress. It's just sad, man. So yeah, I told myself early on when I got into coaching, like, hey, if I ever get to a point where I'm in college coaching because one, it sounds cool, or it's cool to say I'm a college coach, like kind of the I don't know if egotistical side of it is the right route to go because I have a lot of mentors and a lot of really some of my best friends who still coach college football. But it's like if I were still coaching, because I get to say I coach college, I'm a college football coach, and or I'm in it for the money, then I'm gonna get out. And right around and the portal and NIL just and all just the rules went out the window. Coaches are recruiting year round now. Like it's insane. Zero balance. And I was like, pretty hate recruiting like it pretty early on, and it just didn't sit well with me, especially when you introduce the portal and then NIL, and then you have to recruit your own kids to keep them at your school, and you're recruiting guys that you can't build relationships with kids. So I was like, this is just it's all bad. It's there's I want to coach football and make like impact kids, and kids want that too, but they gotta look out for themselves too. And if they get a bunch of money put in front of their face, like they're gonna say, hey coach, I love you and I appreciate all you did for me and I want you to be in my life. That's best case scenario, but I gotta take this money. All right, well, I don't know, it just didn't sit well in the depths of my heart. And I just we all defensively got fired at USC. GAs included. Anybody that was a Grinch guy, Audi. And I, sat down, reflected a bunch, and had offers to go elsewhere to keep on coaching college ball at some pretty cool schools, with some of my favorite people. And yeah, just decided, no, I'm gonna move home and plant my roots and not live this transient lifestyle. And again, it's a great lifestyle. Like I said, I have plenty of people that still coach, who I love, but I couldn't do it anymore. So I don't know, maybe I'm soft.
No, far from it. But I do like the fact that you kind of hit on that. Like recruiting becomes year round, but you're also recruiting your own guys to stay while also looking for a new guy. So let me ask you this: I think so much of football is buying in to whatever it's going to be, right? Like you need 100% people who are 100% bought in to make success happen. And I'm not putting any like hate or pressure on kids who are looking for the next payday because, as you said, like that's generational money for a lot of people that can change things completely. But do you think it's hard for a coach to be 100% on recruiting these kids? Because, yes, I want you to return for your sophomore, your junior year. Like, you're going to be a huge part of this team. But I can't give you 100% attention because there's this incoming freshman that I'm trying to recruit to get him here, who we need him too for when you're gone. So, do you find it hard to be able to focus on multiple different classes, trying to give each kid your all, but knowing that each kid is a backup plan for if this kid hits the portal, if this kid leaves?
Yeah, I mean, you're always looking at the portal. There's every school has, because of the portal, they have larger recruiting departments. They have general managers because of NIL and the portal. So you're constantly looking the portal. If you had 2 to 3 balls to juggle before all of this portal and NIL stuff, right? Because the goal was always, and Grange and Leach, they always tell us like, "Hey, we're trying to out recruit you. Like we're trying to recruit guys that are better than you." And to any real competitor, and that's all we were. That was our makeup as a team. From 2015 on, Wazoo was like, "All right, yeah, try and out recruit me. Nobody's gonna beat me out." You think back to the Brett Favres and Tom Brady's, like that was their mentality going into every preseason camp. Like, that they, like, yeah, okay, try. You're not gonna beat me out. You don't see that anymore, but at the same time, coaches are still trying to out recruit the current kids they have, but now they have to cater and convince the kids that they have, to not leave. Because that was the other part. Like, all right, you can try and out recruit me, but I'm stuck here. So I am, unless I want to transfer down. So I'm gonna work my ass off to not get beat out. Like now it's, well, I can work my ass off or I can transfer. Like, and so there's that easy button that kids have, that position coaches have to pay attention to. So yeah, you're just adding fuel to the fire, more balls to juggle, all of it. I don't envy college coaches right now.
No, and I think what you said about competitions could right. So, I mean, you can look at 20, I think it was 17, your quarterback going into the year. Golly, this is even making me think, but they bring in Gage because I think, was it Gage that year? Or was it,
No, Gage was. You're thinking 2019. They bring in and I was gone. They bring in Gage,
and they had Gordo.
but Gordo won. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like it goes to it, right? Like that's insane. 2018, you have the Helinski tragedy, and we all know how sad that is. And you bring in Minshew, and I think it's part of what makes 2018 so memorable and lasting is just you bring in this guy who's from East Carolina, and you're like, oh, well, I guess And I think a lot of Wazoo fans kind of the loss of losing someone is so heavy that you don't care about sports the next time. Like you're just like, we just want to get through it. So I guess to rewind a little bit for you as that's happening, and now you have something tragic like Helinski passing, and then you have the ability to potentially leave to be like, hey, I really want to close this chapter. What makes you Does that play into the decision to stay even a little bit, or is it just
Yeah, no, it certainly did, and I, definitely should have mentioned that whole aspect because that's a whole total factor, experience, feeling in itself compared to, and it's not even really comparable to the mass exodus that I was talking about earlier. Like like that stuff ain't sad. That stuff ain't like really didn't matter. We were still gonna play football, but yeah, definitely, Tyler, and his passing was instrumental in me wanting to stay that was I took on with all that happening, took on a very big leadership role as kind of the mediator between the team and coaches. And I remember, just having lots of conversations with Leach and our strength coach at the time, of like, do we do workouts? Do we not do workouts? Do we make it optional? Trying to figure out like, how do we proceed into this 2018 year, because this all happened in January of 2018. Like, how do we proceed? And just being a part of that, and the and we through tragedy came together really close as a team. Even though there's a big hole from my senior class that left, like we all came together and got really close really quick. And everybody except Gardner, because he showed up in the summertime, and but yeah, it was it just you talk about adversity heading into a football season, like you can't top that.
for sure? Uh, to get back on a happier note, which is hard just because obviously that was insane. But
Yeah.
so you said they cut USC cut all ties with the Grinch guys, right? They said, get out of here. And you did mention you don't have to answer, but you said you had some opportunities to go be at some other colleges. What were some of like the big names? Just I'm nutty over that type of thing.
I could have gone to TCU or UConn. Um, my linebacker coach Ken Wilson was at he's still at TCU. We're going to UConn with Coach Matt Brock, and my strength coach is over there. But my old Mississippi State DC, who was my special teams coach at Wazoo in 2018, and he's still there at UConn. Oh, and then my brother-in-law's at Oregon. So like, had the possibility of interviewing for something there, and popping on board with him. So I'll also turned down Dickert 3 times, which he 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 did not like. He got pretty spicy with me a little bit, but it is what it is. I mean, I will
Like I'm all one or better.
it was just over the course of, because I turned when he took over as interim, I was at Mississippi State. He offered me to come up. Well, I hit up Pat Sean and Jack Thompson, and I guess it was just them, like saying, "Hey, I can come fill in as linebacker coach, D-line coach. I can come help." And we get to talking, and he basically offered me an opportunity to come up, and basically do the same thing I was already doing at Mississippi State, except with no guarantee that I was going to be retained, because he had no guarantee at that point that he was going to be retained. And so, even after those talkings, I'm sure I got his hopes up a little bit, but I turned him down. And then he offered me like a head recruiting role. I hate recruiting, so I turned him down easily on that one. Even though like it was kind of enticing, but and then he straight up offered me, and I think this was my last year at USC. He offered me a quality control spot, so like an analyst, defensive analyst, which is technically better than a graduate assistant role. Turn him down on that, just because I was learning a lot at USC. Yeah, this was heading into my last year at USC, so off season of 2023, 2022, no 2023. And turned down again, and yeah, he didn't like it that time. I think he thought he hit a home run or something, but I was just like, hey, I mean, we just went whatever 10-3 or 11-2 in USC's our first year. Like, we have Caleb Williams coming back. We were like thinking we were gonna make a national championship run at USC heading into Lincoln's second year, and I was learning a lot and having a lot of fun. I was like, I'm gonna try and win a natty, and then we came far from it, but it's all good.
All right. So to get into the high school side of things, 2024, you end up calling Coach Jervis over at Skyline, and I don't believe the idea was to ever say, "Hey, I want to be the next head coach." I believe it was, "Hey, I'd love to come help coach." But it sounds like from that call, he basically was like, "Well, here's what you can do to become a head coach." So,
Yeah.
what was that like? And just kind of lay us on the step by step process of how that went down.
Yeah. I was laying by the pool at my spot in LA, freshly fired. Um, just calling people, calling all my old coaches, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, having a strong inkling of like, okay, I think this is. I graduated with my master's from USC too, so I was like, I'm I'm good. I can scratch out a good life for myself, coaching ball and teaching up here in Washington, or whatever I wanted to do. And so I called Coach Steve Jervis, legendary Skyline head coach, who was just filling in that previous year, kind of like as a 1 year interim coach, stepped down immediately after the season. But I was just calling him because he runs like an academy.
Even football academy.
Exactly. And I had coached for him before, and it's not bad money. So I knew he was starting it up soon. Off season coming, about to get into full tilt. So I was just calling him to ask and checking on him and see how the season went, and ask if I could work for him. And yeah, he just immediately went into Skyline job is open. If you're thinking of coming home, I'll help you apply. And he was like, "You should apply." I was like, okay. I don't know how much thought I gave. I'd like maybe a day or two. And I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do this. Threw my name in the hat, duked it out with Jake Heaps, and the rest is history.
Dude, that with Jake Heaps, huh?
He was well, he got a head coaching job down there in Denver, but he works remote because he's Russell Wilson's quarterback coach. So I think the whole remote high school head coach thing just gave me a little bit of an advantage. So, but we were talking like if he would have got it, I would have been his DC sort of deal. Truly, I was throwing my name in the hat just for the fun of it, to be honest. Like the experience of it. Like, hey, I'm gonna put my whole philosophy, everything down on pen and paper, and build an organization and an interview plan, and then just the more conversations I had, the more time I put into it. I was like, okay, yeah, if I don't get this job, I'll be pissed off. But yeah, if I was truly kind of just moving up here, I would have coached wherever. But thankfully, just it was again weird, crazy timing, crazy set of circumstances that the Skyline job is open. The moment I'm thinking of moving home, I'm graduating with a master's from SC. I get fired. Uh, all all crazy circumstances. So it was I spent a month basically like severance pay down in LA, finishing out my lease, chilling by the pool, and working at the pool and like putting together my interview plan, and putting all my thoughts and principles, everything I had learned the past 8-10 years at Wazoo, Mississippi State, and USC, and Skyline, because um, just all into one giant presentation, which was kick ass. So it worked.
Well, and from your dad, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
your dad's passing.
yeah. No, I appreciate that, bro.
He had six kind of key things that he always talked about. Um,
Let's go,
walk us through 'em, man.
dude. I don't know. You tell me. I mean, we had an interesting relationship to where like he didn't talk too much ball with me. He kind of just let me do my thing and he supported the heck out of me. I remember like listening to his like his clinics all the time. Is one of them energy is contagious? Yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, hit me.
No, I mean, I think it's interesting to go through it. Here, I'll pull up the exact ones we got them. Here, all right. Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
So right there, I mean, right off rip. So you got your greatest lessons. So treat everyone and anyone how you'd want to be treated. Celebrate with your teammates. Work your butt off and lead from the front. Be a student of the game. Never take coaching personal. Energy is contagious, and trust in God's plan.
oh, dang, dude.
So, I mean, those are the pillars you have right there. And I imagine you do the same thing over there with Skyline and just kind of how you're building that up. Is that a safe assumption there?
Dude, no doubt. I mean, I was telling our kids after day one because I think it was just it's stressful. There's a lot of jobs to be won, so and a lot of we kind of start fast and throw a lot out of them, a lot at them at Skyline, and practice really fast. And it's kind of a sink or swim sort of deal. Today was way better, but yesterday was definitely just controlled chaos. But guys were making plays and but like not celebrating them as much because I think they were like all right next play I got locked back in and I was telling them to celebrate like it's okay to celebrate with your teammates and I told my quarterback after practice like leaders lead by example, leaders lead from the front. I just set them all huddle, which is our film our online film program. I sent the whole team notes from last practice, telling them to be students of the game. Never take coaching personal. That's always. I mean, you could say that in a bunch of different ways. And energy is contagious. I tell my coaches that more than anything because, like, they feed off of us oftentimes more than they feed off of each other. And then trusting God's plan always. And then you got the golden rule: treat everyone and anyone how you want to be treated. Yeah, that's good stuff, dude. Oh, work your butt off. He like to say, work your tail off. He's a big tail guy. Work your tail guy.
Sounds about right. I mean, I just think the ability to have a person close in your life like that, like a coach, is, I mean, the things you probably learned from as a young kid that is naturally carried over onto Wazoo, and then I mean now it's just something that's instilled in you and that you try to teach the kids about. But
Yeah, man. It's so it's applicable to a lot of areas of life too, though. It's what good coaches do. I'm not calling myself a good coach, but I try. And
that's half the battle right there
yeah, my dad was definitely a good coach.
for sure. All right, I got some rapid fire questions to wrap up, so you can get about with your night. I appreciate you letting me take up some of it, but these are just meant to be quick and fun. Just 5 quick ones. You can skip them if you want. But you're at a gas station. Let's say it's similar to Washington, and you're going to drive all the way down to Mississippi. What's going to be your go-to snack and drink for that ride?
Go to snack and drink, man. I don't drink soda. I would probably crush a couple Celsiuses in water. That's really all I need. Just caffeine and water. That's how I roll. Although I'll do a cold brew. I'll do a cold brew, a little vanilla sweet cream. I'm soft like that.
I'm a salted caramel cold brew guy. I can't hate.
My guy. Yeah. Man, I would always caught so much flack in the coach's office, like for throwing cream, like lots of creamer in. And everybody's just Coach Grant's just black. He drank a lot of coffee, a lot of piss breaks during staff meetings. What am I snacking on? Beef jerky is a go to.
Last
The malt.
salt, pepper. What are we going with?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with the pepper. I feel like the teriyaki is good. I love some teriyaki beef jerky. What is it? Old Trappers. It's expensive, but it's good. My mom would want me to have seeds, sunflower seeds. She always says that keeps you awake, which it does.
That brand smacking. I gotta say, they are. I don't know if you've had a chance. Some real good seeds.
Really? Wait, what are they called?
called smacking. I have a couple. So ironically enough, I'll get some to you. I'll tell you about it when we're done with this.
All right. Well, I know I appreciate that.
For sure, man. I got you. And number 2, who's your favorite athlete of all time?
Favorite athlete of all time? Man, there's probably 2. Now I can't consider I was gonna say Warren Sapp because I wore a Warren Sapp jersey to school every day, or so my mom says, like in 1st and 2nd grade, like she couldn't make me wear something different to school.
We're talking like a Raiders jersey, like Miami Hurricanes, or what? Hey,
Tampa Bay, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Tampa Bay, Warren Sapp. But probably Ray Lewis. I mean, just everything he was about, you know. Ultimate leader, fantastic human, well, and linebacker. I mean,
I got you on that one. I got you on that one. I will 52 in high school and everything like that, and it was because of Ray Lewis, right? Best middle linebacker of all time, hands down. I understand and respect people with Dick Butkus, and
yeah,
you can go a million different ways, but for me, Ray Lewis. I have best defensive player of all time. LT, maybe someone could argue, and then
yeah,
offensively, you got people. It's Tom Brady, but my heart says Peyton Manning, and I can't let that go.
yeah. Yeah, I wore 52 my senior year in high school because of Ray. Funny you said butt kiss. Just a little anecdote for you. I changed my number to 47 because I had to be PP and I had to be eligible on punt. But my first year, my redshirt year, I got 51. I didn't choose it; they just gave it to me. And Leach called me butt kiss. Like literally, like never called me by my name until I changed my number. Just called me butt kiss. Which was maybe one of my favorite things he ever did. That's definitely a highlight of my career at Wazoo.
There you go. So number 3 is, what's your favorite time of year? So thinking seasonally here. I mean, a lot of people end up saying it's fall because football starts up. Some people say spring because their body turns into that clock of football's ramping up. What about you?
Yeah. Um, my favorite time of year is summer because it's kind of the time in between where you think everybody's just chilling. Well, it's kind of a mix of both. Like, especially for me as a teacher, and when I was playing, like, you don't do much in summer. We did summer school at Wazoo every year. We stayed in Pullman all summer, every summer. And it's an absolute blast because, one, we live in Washington State, which is the best state to live in for the season of summer. It's absolutely beautiful, water everywhere, green everywhere. And I'm a big water guy, so you get done with it. And the other flip side of it, before I get to what I like to do with my summers, everybody thinks it's a super chill season, but it's really like the grittiest time of the off season almost. I mean, you could certainly argue like the darkness that is January through March, April, because that's a lot of hours in the weight room, a lot of hours just in the dark, just talking literal darkness. We did midnight maneuvers at Wazoo, which was literal hell, but also, oddly enough, a very fond memory of mine. But summer is like you're still grinding your tail off, but you're also chilling, soaking up some sun, going to the lake after workouts. Like there's nothing beats grinding through a doing hard things, and then going down and cooling off, opening a book, chilling by the water.
And jumping in Lake Sammamish is just it's relaxing.
My uncle Steve lives on Lake Sammamish, and I will be at his house. I hope he listens to this. Uncle Steve, I'm coming over, and I'm gonna drive your boat.
Speaking into existence.
Once I get my boater's license.
There you go. All right. So this one, I mean, this is more for different people, but it's favorite sports teams at the high school, college, and pro level. Like obviously for high school, I think you have to say Skyline. I think college, if you don't say Wazoo, people are going to be upset. You can audible on that one if you want. But what's your favorite pro team? Now you can take this to the basketball. You can go hockey,
Yeah.
however you want to handle it.
Yeah. Man, it's tough. It's tough. It comes down between the Mariners and the Hawks. I always call myself kind of like I'm a supporter of the Seahawks. They never took a chance on me. Um, had a good conversation with Pete Carroll where he was at their like a local pro day, which was really cool. He came up to me and was, "Pelluer, right? You played a lot of ball." Yeah, I did too much for college. Um, but I have a lot of really, really good friends who work for the Hawks, and they have supported the Skyline program um, in very meaningful ways since I've gotten the job. So I'm a Hawks fan. Um, and I would say Mariners. I haven't been to a Mariners or a Hawks game in a long minute though. I won't say how long, but it's been a while. Um, but I love them both.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I love the Mariners, but I mean, it's like ripping your heart out every year. I mean, you just
Yeah, so still.
but I think those are the best fans, right? Like you it means when you finally make the playoffs. I mean, we did a couple of years ago, but when we finally actually win a series in the playoffs,
Yeah,
it'll mean that much more because of the years of just nothing.
no doubt, no doubt.
So
Someday.
so Luke Combs has a song called "Doing This," and so it basically just starts and it goes. Someone asked me once in an interview what was growing up like, where'd you go to school, and what would you do if you weren't doing this? So my question to you is, what would you be doing if you weren't coaching at Skyline? Like, let's just say coaching wasn't even in the picture. You got your master's. What'd you get your master's in, or would you be doing something different? Anything in the world you could be doing right
Oh, I'd be flying fighter jets or or Blackhawks, Apaches, Chinooks. I don't care. I would be flying something. Um, yeah, big regret, but no regrets at the same time. I am where I am meant to be. But yeah, I did. Uh, I'll never. Another quick anecdote. Um, went on the road trip with Gardner a couple years back, right before COVID hit. Actually, it was January 2020. I don't know if you remember, but he did a long road trip from Mississippi to Orange County. Um, and it was me, his homie RJ, and Gardner. I met him in Austin. Make a long story short, we take a pit stop in Vegas for a night or two. One of the things he set up was flying with the Thunderbirds going on to Nellis Air Force Base, Army base, and spending a day there, which is just sick. You're on base, you know, it's high security. Um, but we get there and I'm thinking I'm gonna go up in one of these F-16s. They're like, the other training jet is out of commission. So only Gardner got to go up there and fly a jet. I got to sit on the tarmac for an hour and a half while he literally flew to California and back, pulled pulled 10 Gs, 9 Gs, and passed out. Flew the jet. Um, I got to get I got attacked by an attack dog with my consent in like a full bodysuit. That was what I got to do. And he got to fly jets. So
now? I mean, there's different levels to this stuff, right? But
yeah, yeah, no doubt.
did you get to do the whole like you sprint away from the dog and it chases you down?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was sick. His name was Ajax. I got attacked by multiple dogs, and it was like each time the dog got bigger, they're like, "All right, we're gonna bust out Ajax." And yeah, he full on tackled me, and they were like, "Hey, he's gonna tackle you. Make sure that when you fall, you don't fall on him." I was like, "Okay, like, you sure I'm gonna fall?" Um, sure enough, yeah, he got me pretty good, just right in the tricep. And the way they get the dogs off of you, they have to choke them out for them to release
Mhm.
you. And he got me so good that it penetrated the suit. And like in all the pictures, I'm like holding puppies that are probably badass killers right now. Maybe they're retired. I don't know their service life. Maybe they're chilling somewhere, being good old boys. But yeah, you literally bloodied and bruised my tricep. It was cool. It was a good experience. It was a good experience.
Dude, that's the most like linebacker psychotic answer that like like that's just the epitome like linebacker. Yeah, man, I got bit so bad it ripped off part of my skin, but it's sick.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was I again I wouldn't do it again. I don't need to do it again. Like you already did it once. It's like I don't but I'm glad I did it. I mean, I don't know. It was cool.
All right, man. Well, I mean, good luck with the year. Football season's gonna be great. But I'm about to hit end here in a minute. Is there anything you want to say to anybody listening? Coug fans, Peyton fans?
Not many of those. I would say go Cougs, go Spartans. And I love you, Mom.
All right.